What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an Arsenal inventory update to do for you guys. CDs this time. And I have a nice little mini stack of CDs to show you of 2017 releases from probably one of the very best labels to represent brutal death metal. And I, of course, am talking about Comatose Music. I did a very similar video to this last year. This time around, we're going to delve into the A section of this label's roster. All these bands start with the letter A, and this is in ABC order as far as I'm concerned here. We got 3 2017 releases to talk to you about, and the first release is from probably one of the most reliable and hard-working sort of Russian brutal death metal bands to come out right now. And of course, I am talking about Aborted Fetus. This is their brand new album entitled The Art of Violent Torture. Yeah, these guys are based out of Perm, Russia, and I would consider a band like Aborted Fetus to be one of those very tight-knit workhorse sort of bands. A band that takes its time putting out material, and when they do put out material, it ends up being very solid and straight to the point. They've put out really solid albums, most notably their debut from 2008, Gore-Soaked Clinical Accidents, to the album they put out in 2014 with Private Judgment Day. That was a pretty solid album. This new record pretty much continues on in the same sort of pathway as the previous 3 releases. If you're familiar with Aborted Fetus' style, it's no nonsense, straight to the point evilness, really awesome vocals, pretty well worded and well established for being pretty guttural and over the top. The music is straight up beastly and gnarly sounding stuff. A lot of great riffs, a lot of great drum parts, pretty good bass tones. Listening to songs like Boiled Alive, Pouring Molten Lead into a Throat, which is a really cool song title, I must say. To a track like Buried Alive, I really enjoy that song a lot because it not only incorporates the brutal elements that you would know from a band like Aborted Fetus, but you also have the nearly methodical sort of elements like slowly played guitar work, a little bit of ambience thrown in there. I just think that's a really creative way to get the ball rolling for an album like this. And later songs like Hanged and Quartered is pretty solid too. But if you're a fan of Aborted Fetus, I would say that this new album is a pretty much business as usual for a band like this. I think it's very entertaining, it's straight to the point. I don't think any wheels needed to be reinvented with a band like this, and I think this is pretty damn solid stuff. But yeah, love the artwork on this album, track listing and all credits and all that. Band members in question, and I like the artwork that's included on here. Very torturous in regards to this band's lyrical themes and styles. Has that Brodakeen-esque sort of mentality with the torture photos and all that stuff. Really badass layout job done here for this release. But yeah, definitely check out the new Aborted Fetus if you're into straight to the point, true to the roots brutal death metal with the art of ancient torture. The art of violent torture, excuse me. From Russia, we move on to Canada, to probably my favorite release out of this whole little stack. It's only 3 bands I should mention, since I say it's a little stack, but yeah. From Russia, we move to Canada for an album that's been almost 16 years in the making. Yeah, this is the new album from Abuse entitled Nothing Is Safe. Yeah. Vancouver, British Columbia. In 2001, this band put out a very, very well-known album entitled Like a Virgin. The album cover is extremely irrecognizable, very synonymous. Pretty much a woman with her hands tied behind her back on her knees. You pretty much got the idea of what kind of a band Abuse was. Pretty much along the lines of stuff like, let's say, maybe Devourment or Waco Jesus, or maybe even Anal Blast to a certain extent. 16 years later, we have the second album from Abuse, and that's quite a lengthy wait for an album like this, but I would say the wait is well worth it, and pretty much it feels like the Abuse of old. One of my favorite things about this album is the fact that they brought in Marco Petruzella to do the drums. He was involved in another really awesome Comatose release from last year with the debut album from Neurogenic. And this drum performance, pretty much, this is Marco at his most maniacal and his most spastic. Lots of drum fills, lots of hyper blasting, lots of really, really great drum parts. I mean, it's almost difficult to keep up with how fast Marco drums on this record. But as far as the rest of the musicianship goes, it's just straight up nasty, death grinding insanity. I love the craziness of the guitar work. I love the audible bass work. The vocals are very guttural, very, very, very animosity fueled, very pissed off sounding. Some of the song titles are pretty over the top too, like the opening track, "Fuck Me or I'll Kill Us Both." She Never Knew What Hit Her, "I'm So Horny," and probably my favorite one of the bunch, "Bitch Kebab." Yeah, so over the top and crazy. One thing I like about this album is the fact that they have this album cover is pretty much a Grand Theft Auto rip. The artwork design, the font, the back here with the track listing, and pretty much the lyrics to this album read off like a story is being told, and it's a pretty over the top sort of story. And yeah, to show how over the top this band is, one of my favorite things about this is probably the booklet of this release. Yeah, if you can really catch it right here, it says, "Over 1,000 women were harmed during the making of this album, but no animals. Hi, Mom." So stupid and over the top, but that's what Abuse are going for with an album like this. And this is definitely a nice akin to something like a Virgin. Abuse are back, and this has been well worth the 16-year wait. They're going to be playing Las Vegas Death Fest in June. My good buddy Mike from Desecrate the Faith, who also has another Comatose release with Unholy Infestation, he's going to be filling in for them, playing drums live for their set. So I'm hopeful and optimistic that things will go well for not only Mike, but for Abuse for when they play Las Vegas Death Fest. It's fucking awesome. So yeah, Abuse, Nothing Is Safe. Such a fun death grindy record. And as the last little album from the A section of Comatose Music is another one, another veteran band that got back into the swing of things a couple of years ago, and are pretty much one of the flag bearers for brutal Italian death metal. Of course, I'm talking about the new Anthropofagus album entitled Mort, which is code for Methods of Resurrection Through Evisceration. Yeah, this is their third full-length album. They're best known for their debut album from 1999 entitled No Waste of Flesh. That album was a really, really awesome record, but it took a very long time for this band to come out with something new. And going back to 2012 with their album Architecture of Lust, that was pretty much their welcome and return to the scene of things. They still knew how to create great music, but they somehow added a slight touch of modernness to their sound, but not too modern to the point where things will feel distracting. This definitely feels like they've adapted with the times, but yet still maintained a very brutal sense of musical styling. And now here we are with this third full-length from Anthropofagus. Pretty awesome stuff here, pretty much picking up where Architecture of Lust left off. Really awesome vocal work, really detailed lyrical content, very good stories to be told here. One thing to point out about this is the artwork. I really do enjoy this album cover. I believe it was done by Daniel Desecrator from Slotbith. Pretty badass of him to do artwork for this band and to realize the concepts of something like this. But songs like like the first couple of tracks off of this record, Spawn of Chaos, Chance for Abizu, The Abyss Chapter 1, and even one of the closing tracks with Deception of the Blood. Just some straight up nastiness going on here. Great vocals. David Biglia, probably the premier drummer for Italian brutal death metal, not only with this band, but with Septical Gorge, Hour of Penance. I know he recently joined that band. His work in Beheaded. He's just a great drummer, and he can pretty much drum and adapt his sort of style to any kind of brutal death metal band, regardless of where they're from. And here with Anthropofagus, he does a tremendous drum performance. And there's a pretty neat little Malevolent Creation cover on here of the track Going in Fear. Yeah, really solid cover, but the original music that this band brings with this new Anthropofagus record is really, really solid. So yeah, if you're a fan of Anthropofagus or Italian brutal death metal, Mort is definitely the album to check out. Methods of Resurrection Through Evisceration by Anthropofagus. Go check this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you links in the description box to the Comatose Music Bandcamp page, which just got recently made. A lot of the older releases and newer releases from that label are getting thrown onto there. I know a lot of people have been wanting to get digital versions of Comatose records, but couldn't get them for a long time. But Steve has made that option available to not only get digital downloads, but also physical copies with digital downloads. So if you are interested in that, I will leave you links to all of the bands that I mentioned here. There are currently a few tracks streaming for each of the bands of this album. I believe Aborted Fetus is shipping right now. The other two albums will be shipping very soon, a lot sooner than the release date entails. And yeah, definitely check that out. If you're into any of these bands, Aborted Fetus, Abuse, or Anthropofagus, definitely let me know. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until the next time, Army Ho out.